very much for your patience. I'm sorry that you had to wait around for more than an hour. My name is Zach Perrone. I'm a lieutenant with the Palo Alto Police Department, and we're here to have a very brief press conference, about 15 minutes total, to summarize the events of what happened today at our Tri-City gun buyback. Before I get started, I wanted to recognize a few people who were here today. Most notably, we had two elected officials that came by and lent their support to this event by showing up. Congresswoman Jackie Spear and Assembly Member Richard Gordon were both here, as well as the police chiefs from the three involved cities who are behind me. Chief Ron Davis from the East Palo Alto Police Department, Chief Bob Johnson from the Menlo Park Police Department, and Chief Dennis Burns from the Palo Alto Police Department. Also behind me, and who will be speaking today, is District Attorney Stephen Wagstaff from San Mateo County, Roger Lee, who's one of the founding members of the nonprofit organization Protect Our Children Incorporated, who helped fund this event in its entirety. And also speaking will be Mayor Ruben Abrica from the city of East Palo Alto. Also in attendance today is Chief Assistant District Attorney Jay Boyarsky from the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office. So I'd like to start off by giving the final statistics for the event today. We had originally slated this event to last 4 hours. Remarkably, we had to cut this off after 2 hours and 40 minutes due to the amount of tremendous support we got from this community bringing firearms forward. So in 2 hours and 40 minutes, we were able to collect 355 firearms in total. That included 111 handguns, 227 rifles or shotguns, and 11 assault weapons. Some of the more dangerous and illegal firearms that we collected are here on the tables surrounding me. If you'd like to ask questions of any of the more knowledgeable officers about firearms-specific questions, they'd be happy to answer those for you at the end. The total amount of money disbursed, these were all private funds that were disbursed from the nonprofit organization Protect Our Children Incorporated, was $52,000 in 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's really remarkable. I'm very, very fortunate to have a community that turned out like it did today. So with that in mind, I would like to turn it over to Mayor Ruben Abrica from the city of East Palo Alto. Mr. Mayor.
What I want to say is that today, I think it's a great example of cooperation with three cities, East Palo Alto, Menlo Park, and Palo Alto, all the law enforcement personnel, the community. I think that it's been a regional effort, and the message should go out that we need to get guns off the streets, we need to get guns from homes, we need to get as many guns away from children, from people who might be using them in dangerous ways. So I'm very proud to represent our city, and I want to thank all the other cities as well as the nonprofit Protect Our Children for having donated some money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And now, Mr. Stephen Wagstaff, the District Attorney from San Mateo County.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Wagstaff, and I'm speaking on behalf of Chief Deputy Jay Boyarsky from Santa Clara County DA's office, and mine to offer my congratulations to the police chiefs and the members of these three police agencies that have conducted this today. It's important. As you know, the state of California, over the course of the last decade, has passed laws to try and get guns off the street in specific circumstances. The example, domestic violence cases, where law enforcement will take those guns out of those circumstances. Cases where they're dealing with somebody suffering from a serious mental illness, being taken to a hospital. Law enforcement can get those guns. This provides another way in which we can do things in our effort to get the guns off of the street. Now that doesn't just mean getting the guns out of the bad guys' hands. Law enforcement does a great job of doing that. But when you look at some of these guns, I think of cases such as we have in our county last year. We had a case in the mid part of our county where a young man who had been drinking too much walked up to the wrong house and started fiddling with the door and trying to get in because he thought, due to his intoxication, that he was at his house. It was actually down the street. The homeowner took a gun and shot him. Now, he survived. We were very grateful for that. But that's an accident that we don't need to have happen. And so as people are bringing in these guns, it will contribute to the reduction of violence. And that is our goal. And that is why I so compliment law enforcement for what they're doing here today. Try and get these guns off the street, out of circumstances where innocently people can hurt their loved ones in that line, or people they don't even know. It still doesn't change the fact that every single police officer who's been killed in San Mateo County in the last 60 years died due to gun violence. There's no other means of death that any of our law enforcement has suffered. And anything we can do, whether it's domestic violence, mental illness, or programs like this, to try and reduce the danger from guns, I am supportive of it, and I compliment these three police agencies for what they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagstaff. Before I introduce the next speaker, who will be Roger Lee from Protect Our Children Incorporated, I wanted to point out and highlight something that's unusual and unique about this gun buyback event that perhaps we haven't seen very often before. And that is that this really was a public-private partnership. And the majority of the money that was raised was, in fact, all of the money that was raised by members of this community through private donations. And that's really something that's very remarkable, and I'm sure that's something that Mr. Roger Lee from Protect Our Children will talk about.
Great, thanks, Zach. My name is Roger Lee. I'm the founder of Protect Our Children, and many of you have asked me why I did this. And the simple answer is I was inspired by what happened in Uptown City, and the tragedy that took place standing up in the I think, like all of us, we struggled with how to respond, and really wanted to do something to help those children and families. Unfortunately, what we can do is act locally and try and prevent similar tragedies from happening here in our community. And so what really started as an email I sent out to 15 people about 2 months ago, really turned into a grassroots effort that ultimately concluded today with 350 or 360 guns being moved in our community. So it's a great lesson in civics where if you are passionate about something, stand up and do something, you can actually make a difference. So I'm proud that the organization was able to make this happen. I'm deeply appreciative of the police department standing behind me here. This would not have happened without, first of all, Bob Deacon from Palo Alto Police Department taking the lead and being a full partner for us, and then bringing in East Palo Alto and then as Zach said, this really was a great collaboration between a group of individuals, 100 of us ultimately donated to make this happen, and all public servants that are keeping us safe today. So we're deeply appreciative. Thank everybody here for making this happen, and hopefully this will be a playbook now for other gun buybacks that we can execute in the future, not just in Palo Alto, East Palo Alto, Menlo Park, but in the broader Bay Area community. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. That concludes the formal portion of the press conference. Again, I want to apologize to the members of the media and everyone else that waited around. We didn't anticipate the early finish, and thank you very much for your patience in staying this late to cover the press conference. If anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to entertain those.
Yes, the people that came and they had to leave because you ran out of money, what's going to happen with them?
So some of the people that were in the parking lot at the time that we ran out of money were given vouchers by the East Palo Alto Police Department, and they will be appropriately reimbursed at some future time.
What about the ones in the street?
The ones on the street were given flyers to attend the Santa Clara County gun buyback, which I should mention is next week, next Saturday, down at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds.
Same amount of money to be given out?
I'm not sure. I don't know what amount of money they're giving out, unfortunately.
We also learned that there was about $15,000 that came in at the last minute from East Palo Alto as well. Maybe the mayor can answer that, or we know about the 52 from Protect Our Children, but where did that came down today? But that's public funds, right? That's not all private. You got that at the last minute, correct?
We actually ended up using 4,000 that was IOUs for the vehicles that were already inside the parking lot.
Okay, so it was specifically for the folks that
right. We cut off there since the folks were already inside the parking lot.
Right.
We wanted to honor them being there, so we used the additional money from the grant that the police department has, which we used for our annual gun buyback anyway. So we expedited it so we can accommodate.
So essentially, that's for the vouchers.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's about 4,000, I believe, that we put on vouchers.
Okay.
But the program itself is covered by the organization.
So have the rest of that 15, that's inaccurate, so...
For future gun buyback.
Okay.
It's already allotted for.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other questions? Hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at some of the more dangerous firearms. If you haven't, they'll be out for a few minutes. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay.